Good morning, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Rohit Saxena for giving me this opportunity. So I will be talking on essentials of refraction and prescription of glasses. As we all know, refraction is a thing which we all try to ignore in our practice, but it is very important. So I will like to make it more easy for you. Refracting the child can be an encounter or a nightmare for a practicing ophthalmologist. There are unique visual needs of young children. Children are not simply little adults because they have unique needs based upon their visual demands and their developing visual system. We cannot prescribe glasses as we prescribe in adults. The difference between adult and a child are that, number one, that they are difficult to examine. In adults, we can prescribe glasses depending upon the difference between the uncorrected and corrected visual acuity. But it does not happen in a case of child because it is not useful for most preschool children. They cannot provide a reasonable, reliable and repeatable visual acuity measurement. At some point of time, child can read 3 letters, but if it is not properly cooperative, or if a child is hungry, he will not be able to read that much line also. So the visual acuity measurement is not repeatable in a case of child. Even after a child becomes verbal, measured acuity often underestimates the true acuity. So cycloplegic refractive error must be considered while prescribing glasses in a case of child. Cycloplegic refraction is mandatory in determining the spectacle needs of children. Another difference is that they have different visual demands than adults because they have different working distance, around 1 to 2 meters. A child has to see the face of her mother clearly. He does not need to see the things at far distance. So they have minimal or no need for sharply focused distance acuity. Thus, in contrast to older children and adults, preschool children have minimal need for mild symmetric myopia correction. We can avoid small myopia in a case of child, but we have to give that minus correction if the patient is adult. So these are the difference between child and adults. Another major difference is that they have different accommodative abilities. Children have extremely high levels of accommodation. Sometimes healthy children have more than 12 diopters or more of accommodation. So even moderate uncorrected hypermetropia does not degrade acuity in a young child. A child has to see clearly at near distance. So if he has a large accommodation, he can see clearly. So there is minimal need to correct moderate hyperopia, but it has to be corrected if it is associated with squint. And another major difference is that they have increased risk of amblyopia because of anisometropia, strabismus, and high spherical or cylindrical refractive errors. The young child is at risk of permanent visual loss unless the eyes are straight and have symmetric and adequately focused retinal images. So spectacle prescription for children is an art which requires interpretation of the child's refractive error and visual acuity within the global evaluation of the child. Children who are not yet able to provide an accurate objective visual acuity measurement and for whom the only information available is the cycloplegic refractive error and the visual behavior of the child. So we have to prescribe glasses very carefully in children. General guidelines which are to be followed while doing refraction is that be off your white coat, give a warm and friendly smile to the child, toys and interesting articles should be used, and one should not be stern. Reschedule your appointment if the child is hungry or if he is sleepy. Infants are better than toddlers. 1 to 3 years is the most difficult period to refract. The best to do refraction is on the parent's lap, and one should be very fast in doing refraction. One should note the age of the child, type of the refractive error, and magnitude of the error. Symptoms may not be present in preschool children. The only symptoms with which young child can present as the mother will complain that the child is rubbing his eyes very frequently, he is blinking his eyes excessively, or he is closing his one eye, and there is lack of interest in the activities, or at the most the parents will say that the child is squinting. So these are the symptoms with which you can be presented with. Normal developmental changes are that infants are normally hypermetrope, which reduces by 6 years of age. There is 50% astigmatism of 1 diopter or more, and then there is myopia, which tends to increase throughout early childhood. Now coming to the retinoscopy. Now retinoscopy is the serious responsibility of the examiner because child will live with the side effects as well as with the benefits for his entire life, and adverse effects may be optical or neurological. So estimation is solely objective and there is no substitute of retinoscopy. So one should be very careful and very intelligent in doing the retinoscopy because child has to live with that refractive error only for his whole life. If you will give wrong refractive error, then there will be amblyopia and child will lose his vision. So cycloplegia is must because accommodation can interfere with the assessment of true refractive state. So complete cycloplegia is must because incomplete cycloplegia can lead to low reliability, high astigmatism or anisometropia. Sedation should be reserved for very uncooperative child or when complete estimation is required. Suppose one has to measure the IOP also, one has to take corneal diameter, has to see the fundus also. So refraction can be done in that cases under anesthesia, but otherwise sedation is not required. Cycloplegia is also essential in accommodative esotropia, pseudomyopia, latent hypertropia, and in uncooperative patients. So different cycloplegic agents available with us are the atropine. Atropine should be used as 1% ointment in a rice grain size TDS for 3 days prior to the day of refraction. In children less than 7 years and in squint cases. But it has systemic and ocular side effects which has to be explained to the mother of the child, and one should never use drops of the atropine. The mediatric and cycloplegic action of atropine lasts up to 12 days. Now another cycloplegic agent available is that cyclopentolate. Some people do refraction under cyclopentolate, but under 7 years of age it is the standard teaching that under atropine ointment refraction should be done. Cyclopentolate is used as 0.5 to 2% drops. It is a choice in children because cycloplegia lasts for 60 minutes and early recovery is there. But there are incidents of epilepsy and corneal toxicity, so it is not popular. Another agent which is used is hometropine in the form of 2% drops. It takes 30 to 45 minutes to take onset. Recovery occurs in 3 to 7 days. It is used after 7 years of age in children and young adults and in adults with excessive accommodation. Another agent available is tropicamide in the form of 1% drops. It is used only if one wants quick recovery because after some time it has variable results. So we have to do refraction after putting 1 drop of tropicamide between 30 to 40 minutes only, and it should not be combined with phenylephrine for refraction. Now coming to the prescription. Working distance should be around 50 to 75 centimeter and one should subtract for working distance. Final is 1 diopter less for atropine and 0.5 diopter less for cyclopentolate. One can neglect small cylindrical errors in child. Now coming to the prescription in hypermetropes. If the child is having esodiation, another case is that if the child is not having esodiation. If the child is not having esodiation, then in infants we can avoid up to 3.5 diopters of hypermetropia, and in preschool child up to 2.5 diopters of hypermetropia can be avoided because they have more accommodation. But if the child is having esodiation, so prescribe full correction and subtract only for the working distance. Now in myopes, prescribe error according to the American Academy guidelines. In infants up to 4 diopter can be avoided, in preschool child up to 3 diopter, and in school going up to 1.5 diopter can be avoided. Coming to the astigmatism can be corrected in infants if it is more than 2 diopters, and in preschool child if it is more than 1.5 diopters. High cylinders go slow, and so prescribe spherical equivalent, and AR can be of good help, but there is no substitute of retinoscopy. Anisometropia have increased risk of amblyopia, so greater than 1 diopter of spherical anisometropic hyperopia should be prescribed, and more than 1.5 diopter of cylindrical hypermetropia should be prescribed. Prescribe the entire correction. In axial myopes, prescribe full correction, and which is tolerated better than without diplopia. Contact lenses can be used which reduce anisoconia. Coming to the aphakia and pseudophakia cases, prescribe operated patient as early as possible. And one should do refraction on table only. After doing cataract surgery, one should do refraction. Overplus the infant and toddler by 2 diopters. In infant, prescription comes around 20 diopters. Stellar visual acuity is of good help, and which rules out amblyopia. 2 monthly follow-up is required, and one can ignore small cylinders in aphakic cases. In uniocular aphac, glass with plano in phakic eye will not balance, so occlusion should be prescribed in 1:1 ratio. Bifocals are needed above the age of 2 years. Choice is the executive type. One should use plastic lenses which are less heavy and comfortable. Cable temples, sides can be removed, and elastic bands can be fixed, and always attach headband. And you have to tell to the mother that child should not look above the glasses. So child should always look through the glasses. So these are the general guidelines which you have to give to the mother of the child. Thank you.